we all are here right now to explore security operations center roles. So now, what is SOC analyst? Like, let me ask this question. What does SOC stands for? So it stands for Security Operation Center. Okay. It stands for Security Operation Center. And if I ask you, what is SOC? You know what? What is SOC? Can anyone relate this SOC profession with any other profession? Do you think that, can you tell me like what profession matches to SOC in our normal life? Let's say we are living our normal life. So what is that profession which matches to SOC? Okay. So do you know about police? Right? SOC is exactly what matches with police. Okay. You guys have to be, if you're learning, SOC, or if you're stepping into a role of SOC, you have to keep that main mindset like police, who is actively available 24 into 7, who is actively trying to find out some problems. Let's say in your area, there's a police. So what police is doing? Police is trying to keep everything safe and secure, right? That is security operations center role is. Okay. Now, whenever we talk about cyber security, okay, or let's say whenever we talk about IT security, there are three important things. Okay. There are three important things which all of us have to remember. One is prevention. Okay. The second thing is detection. And the third thing is response. So whenever anything happens, anything goes wrong in IT, right? So we always try to prevent ourselves, right? We always create strategies to prevent ourselves from any attack happens. Am I right, everyone? So do you think that prevention is very important? Prevention is very important part of security layer. Yes. The second thing is detection. If something has gone wrong, you are detecting what has gone wrong, right? And the third is response. Okay. So this is what happens in cybersecurity. I'm talking about cybersecurity right now, not the SOC analyst. Always remember what I'm trying to explain over here is the difference between cybersecurity and the SOC analyst. So cybersecurity talks about prevention, detection, and response. But you know what? SOC analyst is basically detection and response. SOC analyst mainly focuses on detection and the response. Okay. So that is why it is known as Security Operations Center team of IT security professional that monitors an enterprise infrastructure 24 into 7 to detect cybersecurity events in real time and address them quickly, effectively as possible, as soon as possible. Okay. So Security Operations Center always participates in detection and responding to that particular attack. Okay. So that is why SOC is considered to be your police. It's kind of a role which you can relate with police in your real life, where you are monitoring. What are you guys monitoring? Can anyone quickly tell me? What are you guys trying to monitor with the help of SOC analyst? You try to monitor the IT infrastructure. Okay. You try to monitor the IT infrastructure. Okay. 24 into 7 to find out what goes wrong. Okay. What actually goes wrong. Okay. So now if I tell you tools, what are used to SOC is this, you're scanning the network 24 into 7 to find any abnormalities and suspicious activities. Okay. So whatever is happening in the system, as a SOC analyst, what you are trying to do is you're trying to be detective. You're trying to find out what is going wrong. It can be any threat. It can be abnormalities. It can be suspicious activities. And if anything goes wrong, you are immediately trying to find out and and try to being responsive on it. Does that make sense, everyone? Are you guys clear till here that what is SOC as a role? I want everyone to say yes. We have Amadu, Amin, Armstrong, a lot of people, a lot of familiar names. Everyone, please participate, right? So SOC stands for Security Operations Center. It monitors the IT infrastructure 24 into 7 to find out or to detect the cybersecurity events and respond to it immediately. So that is why this is actually very popular. So how many of you think that this is actually very important for all the organizations out there, like Apple, Google, banks? How many of you think it is really, really crucial role, right? And that's why they are hiring in numbers. Okay. And that's why they are hiring in numbers. Okay. But let me tell you one more thing. Let me tell you one more thing. Under SOC, do you know what kind of a roles comes under SOC? Can anyone tell me what kind of a roles that comes under SOC? What do you think? What are the roles which comes under SOC? It's very important that we understand SOC in terms of roles, because when we apply for a job, we need to understand that what role we are applying for. Are you getting my point? So what role? I'm not talking about what they do. I'm not, guys, please let me clarify this thing. I am not talking about what they do every day. I'm talking about what are the roles. Okay. Okay. So the number one role is the SOC manager. Okay. Where you basically manage a team of SOC analysts, SOC engineers. You try to manage the team. So SOC manager is also one of the popular role. People who have been doing this, like who have been into SOC analysts for a while, they basically they and they want to promote themselves. They always go for this role called SOC manager. Okay, that's number one. Number two role, which is very popular, is SOC engineer. Have you heard about it? SOC engineer. And the third one is SOC analyst. So I think you must be confused right now that what is the difference between SOC engineer and SOC analyst? Are you guys confused between SOC engineer and SOC analyst? Do we have anyone who is confused here between SOC engineer and SOC analyst? Okay, let me clarify that. See, SOC is actually a role which uses lot of tools. Okay, it uses lot of tools. Now, what are the tools? Let me give you some example, like Splunk. Okay, like XDR, SOAR. Okay, there are like plenty of tools. What an engineer, what SOC uses in day-to-day life. Every SOC person who is working on a SOC role, they use these tools or maybe many more tools. So SOC engineers are responsible to set up these tools, configure these tools, and if these tools doesn't perform well, the engineers are responsible to fix them. Okay. And analyst, who is the analyst? Analyst is someone who acts as police, who basically uses these tools. Analysts are the users of these tools, who uses these tools to find out what went wrong in the system. Okay. So analysts are the users and engineers are the people who set up and configure and maintain the tools. SOC is an activity. SOC is an activity. Okay. SOC is an activity to detect and to respond to any threat. Okay. Let me repeat this. SOC is an activity. SOC is an activity to detect and respond. Now, to detect and respond, you need the tools. And who will set up the tools? Can anyone tell me, please, real quick? Who will set up the tools or who will configure the tools? SOC engineers are the one who will set up the tools, and they are the one who will configure the tools. They are the one who will make sure tools are running fine. Okay. Now, when tools are running fine, tools are reporting lot of threads. Tools are basically aggregating lot of logs. Who are the people who will basically look at who will use the tool? Who are the users of this tool? SOC analysts are the real users of the tool, because they are the one who is using it. Okay. So are you able to differentiate between manager, engineer, and analyst? Is everyone able to differentiate between all three roles? Okay. This is my duty to make sure that you guys understand. SOC managers manages the complete team. They create the strategy, they make sure all the tools are working, they employ people, under them. So that is the role of SOC manager. Does that make sense, everyone? Now, let me let me double click on SOC analyst role. Okay, let me double click on SOC analyst role. SOC analyst role is further divided into three main parts. Okay, SOC analyst is further divided into three main roles: tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. Okay, tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. Let me show you something. Just give me 1 second. Let me show you something real quick. There's an important link I was visiting. Let me show you real quick. Okay, not this one. Okay, can you see this Exabeam link? What I have opened in front of you. Is everyone able to see it? Can anyone confirm real quick? Are you not able to see the Exabeam link right now on your screen where I have opened it in front of you? No? Just a Zoom page. 1 second. Now, what about now? Are you able to see it now? Exabeam, right? Exa beam. This is a link what I'm going to show with all of you. This is actually a very good link what I found. It talks about like what how the SOC team is structured. You can read about all the roles what we have over here. Okay. And it also under SOC analyst, there are three tiers what we talked about, right? Tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. So you can see over here, tier 1 are basically the frontliners. They are the frontliners. So they basically, whenever they get an alert, or they are the someone who are basically looking at the problems, they get the alert first, and then they report that alert to tier 2. Tier 2 is actually a team responding which is responding to the incidents. Whatever incident happens, tier 2 people are the one who are responding to it. And then we have the tier 3 team. This is the tier 3 team in the backend. Basically, they are the SMEs who knows if there is a new alert, right? And tier 1 and tier 2 are confused about. Tier 3 is responsible to understand and to basically make sure that this does not happen in future. And if something is new, they are making sure that they are aware of certain issues and they know how to fix them in future. And everything falls under SOC manager. Okay, the complete team falls under SOC manager, Security Operations Center manager. Okay, they can be threat hunters, they can be SMEs. SME means subject matter expert. So tier 3 is a team which is highly technical, where you are working on the issues which are not being solved by tier 2. Does that make sense, everyone? So I think this is the best representation I have ever seen about different roles which comes under SOC analyst. Great. Okay, so how many of you are having a good time till now? Like, am I able to explain things really well till here? Let me ask this question real quick. Okay, can I go ahead with the next thing? Okay. Now, I would like to discuss about uh, the scenarios. Okay, it's very important that you understand. There are like 2 to 3 scenarios what you need to understand. Okay, and if you're able to understand those 3 scenarios, you will understand SOC role in depth. Okay, so let me explain you the 3 scenarios. What occurs very oftenly when you are working as a SOC analyst. What really happens? Okay, the number one thing is the scenario one. Okay, let's imagine that there is a server. There is a server. Let me ask this question to all of you. Did anyone ever hear about something called as like server is down, site is crashed? Have you ever heard about something like that? That you were trying to access the website, but it is down, or you were trying to open the website, but it is loading very slow, and eventually it never opens, right? And it does. So you must have heard about something called as server is down, site is down, server has been crashed, right? These are some of the things which are very popular, isn't it? Very very often. So what actually happens? Sometimes, let's say your organization, this is your server, you're working for organization, and this organization has this server. This server, there are too many requests. Like let's say in a moment, this server started receiving, let's say 1 million requests. So what will happen? This will be the case of denial of service. Okay. And and what will happen? This server will crash, because this server had a capacity of handling, let's say, 100 requests at a time, but now there are 1 million requests at a time. So what will happen? The server will crash, isn't it, everyone? So this is a quite a common scenario what you must have seen. This happens. So when this kind of a scenario happens, which team is involved? SOC, Security Operations Center team, is involved to identify that who is that person who is trying to perform this activity, which is taking our server down, which is letting our server crash. Okay, so SOC team is involved to find out, and what they do, they block the IP address, they enable the firewall, they take necessary actions to make sure that this server remains healthy, and this denial of service is no longer an issue for the users, for the normal users or the customers who are accessing it. So this is one scenario where you will be involved if you work as SOC analyst. Does that is it clear, everyone? Can I move to the second scenario, please? Okay. The second scenario is, let's imagine that there is a database. Can anyone tell me what is a database? Why do we use database? Can anyone tell me, please? Why do we use database? To store data. Correct. To store the information. Now imagine that you're working for a bank. Okay. And bank has the customer data, all the customer data, okay, in these databases. And any hacker is trying to steal the data from these databases. you know so generally, maybe sometimes bank itself uses these databases to pull out some data or to store some data, but now the data is started getting out of the database very quickly, and in a lot of chunks. A lot of data is getting outside, like it's going outside of the database. And uh, and and SOC team will immediately find out that there is a suspicious activity happening here, because generally, let's say there were only 100 requests at a time, let's say in 1 second, which was normal every day. But all of a sudden this request actually goes to 10,000 per second. Do you think there is something suspicious happening here? Do you think that there's something suspicious? Because in general, it was on an average 100 requests per second, but now it has grown up to 10,000 per second. So there is some abnormalities what they have found, and because of that, SOC team has to act and try to find out why it is happening, and they block everything around the database. So no one can basically access the database for a time being, right? So there is always a benchmarking which is always there, like which SOC team is always aware what is happening in the system. They are sure that okay, this is they have created the benchmark for everything. Let's say if they have databases, so databases are having like 100 requests per second. There are servers, they have like 1,000 requests per second. If anything goes outside this, benchmarking, they immediately try to find out and try to respond to it and stop this. Does that make sense, everyone? This is the second scenario. And the third scenario is, which I like a lot, about uh, the SOC. So in any organization, how many systems can we have? How many laptops can we have? Any guesses? Let's say there are 100 employees in the organization. How many laptops can we have for these 100 employees? Can we say 100 laptops? Right? Now, these 100 laptops are there. Okay. These are also known as workstations. Okay. At many times we call these laptops as workstations, right? So what SOC analyst, or you can say SOC team, what they do is, if let's say if there is any malware is running on this laptop, which is actually creating issues in this laptop, they put some system called XDR. Okay. And with the help of XDR, they try to pull some information from these laptops and try to find out what is going on in workstations. If there is something which is going wrong in workstation, they immediately try to resolve that as well. Okay. So that is a scenario three. So what I'm trying to explain over here with the help of scenario one, scenario two, and scenario three, whether it is about your servers, whether it is about your databases, whether it is about your workstations, okay, everything comes under IT infrastructure. And IT infrastructure is basically IT infrastructure is basically being maintained or monitored by SOC analyst, okay, 24 into 7. And they just don't detect the problem, but they are the people who respond to the problem as well. And that's why SOC team is also known as, can anyone tell me what do we also call a SOC team? Can anyone tell me what other name do we use for SOC team? Sometimes we refer it as with blue team as well. Okay. So anytime anyone talking to you and discussing about blue team, it means they are referring to SOC analyst. Does that make sense, everyone? Great. Amazing. Thank you everyone for your responses. One moment, please. Okay. Now I wanted to basically talk about like what exactly SOC team actually do. We discussed about some of the scenarios, right? We discussed about servers, workstations, databases, but let's understand what exactly they do, in real world. So they do monitor. Everyone knows that they do monitor. Can can anyone tell me like what tool they use to monitor the IT infrastructure? Which tool do they use to monitor the IT infrastructure? Okay. They use something called as SIEM, SIM. Okay. Can anyone tell me what SIM stands for? Can anyone tell me what SIM stands for? Security, information, and event management. This is actually, you won't believe. For a guitarist, guitar is important. For pianist, like piano is important, right? Just like that, for SOC analyst, same tool is something which they use in everyday, at in their everyday life, they use it. Just like you use your phone, just like you use your laptop every day, just like that, as a SOC analyst, you have to be good with SIM. What SIM do, what SIM actually do? SIM, first of all, scan the complete infrastructure, and it keep collecting the logs. It keep collecting the logs from all the servers. It can be servers, it can be workstations, it can be databases, all the, let's say, network switches, firewalls, everything is connected with this SIM. Now, what SIM do? SIM is a data aggregator tool. And on top of that, SOC analyst keeps monitoring this same tool. It's not humanly possible that SOC analyst goes to every system one by one. It's not possible. There can be 100,000 servers. There can be 100,000 machines. Is it really possible for humans to monitor 100,000 machines every day on a regular basis? Is it really possible? Can everyone tell me, like, if it is possible for a human to see or to monitor 100,000 machines 24 into 7? No, right? That is why SIM are very important. SIM tools are very important. So what SIM does? SIM is connected with all the machines in the environment, all the servers in the environment, and they create a data aggregation report. When SOC looks at those the aggregated data, then they draw the result that okay, something is wrong. Okay. You can configure the alarms as well. Like if you configure the alarm, then SOC will be alerted that something has gone wrong. So for monitoring, SIM tools are very important. Then they are involved in prevention technique. Like let's say if something happened today, let's say there is something which happened today, it should not happen in future. Or if it happens in future, what necessary steps the tier 2 team has to take, this is also decided by the SOC team. They are also involved in something called as risk and compliances. Okay. For example, there is a very popular compliance which is GDPR. Has anyone have heard about GDPR? In European Union, in Europe region, right? In Europe region, GDPR is very common. Okay, it is related to data privacy of all the people, right? As per the EU standards, as per the European region, GDPR is the compliance set by them, and every organization has to make sure that GDPR is being followed, data is not getting breached, or data is not getting used for different purposes. Even SOC teams are involved to check the compliances, whether the organizations are following the right compliances or not. They also take care of such activities. And yes, the last one is proactive, proactively incident response and remediation. So not just responding to a problem, but also to mitigate the issue so that it does not happen in future by enabling the right firewall. Okay. So you basically try to mitigate the issue, and you are also putting a remediation over there so that it doesn't happen in future. So these are some of the roles and responsibility what a SOC team actually follows, which is like monitoring, prevention technique, what they have to decide, like what for future, and risk and compliance, proactive incident response and remediation. So is everyone clear till here? Are you guys good till here? Amazing. I'm just trying to explain that how important this role is. So how many of you think after this discussion till here, how many of you think that SOC analyst is actually very important for many organizations out there? Do you think that any bank or any organization out there can I mean they don't need to hire SOC team? It is very important, it is really very important, extremely important, you're right. Okay. So there are SOC team divided into tier 1. You can sometimes you say L1, L2 and L3, where L1 is triage, you monitor, prioritize, and investigate. Second is proper investigation. You try to, who has like layer two is the team who has little bit more experience, and they know what issues have happened in the past so that they can, remedify it, they can fix it. Okay. And then we have the L3, which is threat hunting, which is actually a senior role, senior analyst role, who is in charge of the incident and is always look out for threats in future, what can happen in future, and also assist L2 team if something what L2 is not able to handle, that always falls under L3 team. Okay, so it's really important. Okay. Now, let's talk about the essential tool for SOC building. Okay. It's very important. So can anyone tell me which tool we discussed just now? I told you, right? For SOC, there is one tool which is very important. Which is that one tool we were talking about? I need answers from everyone. It just take a minute, everyone, if you can respond in the chat. We were talking about something called as SIEM, right? Which stands for Security Information and Event Management. Okay. Security Information and Event Management. Okay. So this is something what we discussed already, and we know that SIM is very important. Without SIM, it is not humanly possible to monitor the entire IT infrastructure 24 into 7. It is not humanly possible. And that's why we need what? We need security, information, and event management. Does that make sense? Right? Then there is something called the other tool, which is very important nowadays for SOC team, is the monitoring. Behavioral monitoring. Okay. It's not always important that you start seeing something based on the data aggregation. Okay. um, Data aggregation is very important, but sometimes it's important that you do some behavioral monitoring as well, which is done with uba tool. Okay. User behavioral is analysis, what you actually do to understand how basically behavioral monitoring is done. For example, let's say that you want to understand that why the users are sending so much of information. Okay. For example, on Christmas, or let's say before Christmas, during this holiday period, do you think that the request can go up? Let's say if there is a website and it's a Amazon website, right? So during this holiday period, can the request go up? Right? All of a sudden, the request can go up this week, the entire week, the request can go up, right? So do you think that SOC should disable all the request? No, right? SOC cannot SOC cannot disrupt the entire thing. It is the holiday time. It is expected that users will buy more, and the number of requests will go up. So this is actually our behavioral monitoring. What SOC actually do? There are so many tools available which works on machine learning on different things. What actually happens? Then there is something called as asset delivery. Okay, sorry, asset discovery. I'm sorry. It is known as asset discovery. What does it mean? Can anyone tell me what does it mean? What is the meaning of asset discovery? Now the entire IT infrastructure. I was telling this to all my students last time. When I was working for Outlook.com, there were almost 80,000 servers, right? So all these SIM tool, right? They need to discover all the assets in the system. Okay. It is important that they are connected with all the entire infrastructure. Let's say within the network, there are almost 80,000 endpoints, right? They need to find out all the hardware, servers, software, whatever is there, firewalls, everything they have to find. So asset discovery tools help in finding all the assets so that they can pull the data out of it. Okay. So that they can pull the data out of it. So asset discovery is important. When the asset discovery happens, only then the same tools can aggregate the data or can pull the data and then do the aggregation. Okay. So do you think that asset discovery is important before SIM? So that is why asset discovery tools are enabled. So you basically, make sure that aggregation can certainly happen. Then there is something called as vulnerability assessment. We think that vulnerability assessment helps in find out from a prevention activity. Let's say that you have 100 servers. 100 out of 100 servers, 99 servers are not available on public IP, can be internally used, which are safe servers because they cannot be accessed from anywhere. But one server is actually can be accessed from the outside world by anyone. So do you think this is a vulnerability? In the system, 99 out of 100 servers, 99 servers cannot be accessed by anyone. But one server is there which can be accessed by anyone from anywhere. Is it a vulnerability or not? Because if you are keeping one server active, anyone can get inside in the network from here and can jump into some other machines. So it's a big vulnerability. So it is important that you keep the vulnerabilities on, you keep doing vulnerabilities, and and then the entire system always remains safe and secure because you are trying to keep everything safe and secure. And then there is something called as intrusion detection, which means that is anyone trying to get into the system or not. So there are some tools available which helps you to understand that if someone is trying to get into your network, so you are detecting that intrusion. Okay, it can be a malware which is trying to get into the system and trying to block every detail. Okay, so these are the essential tools if you are building your skills for SOC, Security Operations Center. I'm trying my best, everyone, that you're able to understand SOC in detail. If you're going for the interview tomorrow, you can openly talk about everything, whatever we are discussing today. So I'm trying my best that we are, making sure that you guys are fully ready. You guys are fully ready for everything what we are discussing, and you can face the interview yourself. Okay. Now, how many of you are attending cybersecurity and GRC program with us? Let me just quickly check with all of you. How many of you are here who are attending? You can respond with cyber or GRC. Okay, respond with the name so that I understand like who is in what. Cyber, GRC. Okay, Kaya is in GRC. SOC. Okay. Okay. It's a combination what we are observing, in the industry right now. And this is a combination what everyone should be creating. You know what is important for all of us over here who is connected? The important is how do I place my foot in the door so that if I get into IT once, then I can go anywhere within IT, right? You're trying to find out that entry point. Am I right, everyone? So all of you are trying to find that entry point. So let's say if you get a job as GRC analyst, that's your entry point. If you get a job as cybersecurity analyst, that's your entry point. If you try to get a job as SOC analyst, that's your entry point. And after that, like one person, one of the student, I think, I'm not sure if he's here or not, he was asking me one question yesterday that, Naman, what is going to happen if I get a job as GRC analyst? What's going to happen next? What am I going to do next? And I said, it depends on your interest and the project requirement. Let's say you start working as GRC analyst and you see something related to management, you will go towards management, right? So that direction we cannot decide right now. What we can work on right now is the entry point. How do I put my foot in the door so I am into IT? Am I right, everyone? So for how many of you placing the foot in the door is important? For how many of you actually want to be in IT first, no matter if you're trying to get into IT from cyber, from SOC, from GRC? Am I right? So the thing is, what is actually helping right now is that if you have enrolled for cyber or let's say you have enrolled for GRC, right? Or let's say you have enrolled for SOC analyst. So what we are basically observing right now in the market, that if you, let's say if you're doing cyber, then combine this with SOC. This combination is actually working really well. This is what we have been observing from number of our students. Okay. Then again, GRC combining with the SOC is also a wonderful option right now, because if the opportunity comes right before, like let's say you're working for GRC, but the opportunity knocks your door for SOC, you can go for it. Okay, so this combination is really working well, and this is also working really well. And for SOC analysts, for the people who are basically doing SOC analysts, you should do something called as GRC, because GRC is also somewhere it is related to SOC analyst, which is going to give you a benefit of non-technical part and technical part. You will know some tools, as well as you will know some compliances, some policies, and that's when you will be able to get that success. This combination, this formula, what I'm writing on the screen, this has been shared by a number of recruiters out there in the market. You can discuss with them and you will find them that some people are hiring for SOC, they're looking at your SOC skills and cyber skills, or they're looking for GRC. If you are someone who is basically learning cybersecurity, plan how can you do SOC analyst in future whenever you want to. If you have time, you can do it right now or in future, but make sure that you create this combination if you want to get into IT. Because what do we want to do? We want to get into IT first, no matter what is the door. If the door is going to be SOC analyst or cybersecurity, no matter, but it is very important that I get into IT either with cybersecurity or with SOC analyst. Does that make sense, everyone? Are we clear till here? Right? So this is a roadmap what everyone has to plan. Okay. So certifications, try to get at least security plus. Okay. How many of you have the security plus already? Do we have anyone who has a security plus already? So have at least the security plus. Okay. If you don't have it, plan that out. Have CISA. If possible, get your CISA as well. Okay. Then network plus. This is also one of the very important certification for network security. Network plus. These these are the must have certification. And for GRC people, if you do C risk, that is also very important. Okay. So having the combination of these four are very important. With respect to that, let's say if you have all four of them, then you can basically either go for CCNA or you can go for let's say CYSA plus. Okay. So these are the must have: security plus, CISA, network plus, and CRIS. These are like must have. CCNA and CYSA plus is something what you can plan if you already have these. Some people would ask me a question about CISSP. How many of you think that CISSP is important? How many of you think that CISSP is important? See, CISSP can sometimes get you into trouble. It can set the expectation to be a higher level. Okay. It can, I mean, when you do CISSP, it means you know a lot. Okay. And it is my suggestion to every one of you that you get these certifications: Security Plus from CompTIA, CISA from ISACA, Network Plus from CompTIA, and CRISC from, you know, from ISACA again, and then CCNA to show your networking skills, and CYSA Plus. If you're able to do these six certifications, right, then you can plan for CISSP, but don't jump into CISSP directly. Okay, that's my request. That is what we have been observing. Even if the job description says that they need someone with CISSP, it is okay. You can still apply for it. You can still apply for that job. Okay, so make sure that you guys are able to get this. Okay, CEH is quite a cybersecurity one. So I don't recommend CEH a lot. If you do CEH, that is good, but it is not must have certification right now. Okay. So don't think about CEH or CISSP right now. First, prioritize the entry level certifications, or you can say mid level certifications, because mid level certification will help you land your first job. And what is important for us? The first job. The second job is something what you will be able to figure out yourself. Does that make sense, everyone? If you have CEH, that's good. If you don't have it, plan for others. Okay, so let's just look at the industry roles, what is very popular right now. So you can see in Google Career, there are like 8,076, security analyst, which is like SOC analyst jobs, which are available in United States only for within one company I'm talking about, in Google. Can you imagine in Google, there are almost 8,000 jobs which are available for security operations center. Then in IBM, you can see that multiple jobs like which are available, 232 jobs available in Microsoft only for SOC analyst role. These are the job posting what I'm showing you. In Microsoft, you can see there are 383 jobs which are available right now for security operations center. Okay. In Accenture, you can see that number of jobs which are posted. Even you can find these job posting directly on their website, on their career website, or on their LinkedIn platform. These were like big players, as the Google, IBM, Microsoft, Accenture. These were big players. Now let's look at what the startups and industry giants are doing. So you can see all these other startups over here. You can see all these other small companies like City University of New York, okay, Crawl, Blue Chip Talent, Pyramid Consulting, Wave Strong. All these are small startups, and some of the giants, you know, who are basically hiring SOC analysts. You can see that a number of job opportunities are available on SOC analysts. And please think loudly is just because of all of you. You have participated in referring your friends. Don't forget to refer your friends. Let's build a platform for all. Think Loudly is assisting people coming from different background getting into IT. So refer your friend and get $100, $100 in your bank. Okay. So thank you everyone. Thank you so much, and wishing you a happy new year in advance. Everyone, thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you for watching. Switch from non-IT to IT today. Explore www.thinkcloudly.com.